The RINO never-Trumper Liz Cheney survives her leadership vote as the Republicans risk losing their base. In this video, we're going to take a look at the travesty that took place last night with the Republicans in the House failing to oust Liz Cheney from her leadership position, how it reflects a continued and stubborn allegiance among the GOP to the permanent political class in Washington, and why such an allegiance may indeed cause the Republicans to suffer political extinction as a consequence. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you as always. We are here every day to give you conservative hope in the midst of these turbulent times by helping you think better so that you can feel better. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a regular part of this channel. Please also share this video with others. And for you Rumble fans, make sure to subscribe to our brand new Rumble channel by clicking on the link below. We're hitting close to 100,000 subscribers there. And for you podcast fans, we're now in the top 20 podcasts for national political commentary. And so make sure to click on that link below and sign up for our various podcast platforms as well. Before we begin, we've all experienced blackouts, particularly at night. That very bizarre feeling when the power grid goes out and our homes go completely dark. Well, I'm preparing for my next blackout with a wonderful device called the Lightbug. The Lightbug is a portable, solar-powered, ultra-bright floodlight with 3 lighting modes. Because it's solar-powered, you'll never have to worry about wires or batteries, and it comes with a battery indicator so you know how much charge is actually left. It's perfect to light your fishing trips, your hiking, your camping, because it's so lightweight and portable. If you click on that link below today, you'll get 20% off your order. What can be better? So make sure to click on that link below or head on over to lightbug.com and get your emergency backup light today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. The ultra neocon, never-Trumper, Liz Cheney has survived a push by her fellow Republicans to strip her of her leadership position as retaliation against her vote to impeach President Trump, and in turn play a major role in this impeachment circus, this fabricated Democrat kabuki theater. House Republicans met with Cheney for a reported 4 hours yesterday and then voted on whether to remove her from her position of leadership as House Republican Conference Chair. Now, the drama intensified given Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz' comments earlier that day, yesterday morning, saying that the Republicans did indeed have the votes to get rid of Cheney, that she was done, she was through. Up until this point, 115 Republican congressmen publicly announced their opposition to Cheney, calling for her to resign her leadership as the House Republican Conference Chair. She responded by basically giving them and all of us the finger. And she said she's not going anywhere and that she doesn't even remotely regret her vote to impeach President Trump. Well, it turns out Matt Gaetz couldn't have been more wrong. The vote at the end of the meeting last night, which was anonymous, it was a secret vote. The vote wasn't even close. Of the 206 Republican congressmen who voted in the end, only 61 members voted to strip her of her leadership position. 145 Republicans voted to support her. This despite the fact that the latest polls show that Cheney has only a 13% approval rating among her constituents in Wyoming. Cheney wasted no time to publicly gloat. She seems to have a habit of that. She said in a press conference after surviving the vote, quote, "We really had a terrific vote tonight, a terrific time this evening, laying out what we're going to do moving forward, as well as making it clear that we're not going to be divided and that we're not going to be in a situation where people can pick off any member of leadership." Oh, is that what you were doing last night? Wow. Huh. Thanks for the clarification. Good to know. Now, on the other side of things, the Republican leadership turned out to be equal opportunists here. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the outspoken junior representative from Georgia, she was also spared in that meeting of any punitive action from the members. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy confirmed that she would indeed remain on her committee assignments. And as many people have observed, if the Democrats are going to insist that Greene be stripped of her committee assignments because of past controversial comments, well then, how much more should such an odious person like Ilhan Omar be stripped of hers, given her ridiculously hysterical comments, and not to mention some pretty illicit behaviors. Now, of course, AOC, Ocasio-Cortez, she too is going to have to face the music at some point now that she's been caught Smolletting, shall we say, her yarn about fearing for her life at the riot in the Capitol Hill building when we now know she was nowhere near that building. So House Minority Leader McCarthy threw a bone to both the establishment, who loves Liz Cheney. She's everything they would want in a bought and paid for member of Congress. And he threw a bone to the MAGA crowd, the deplorables who tend to love Marjorie Taylor Greene. But we do have to address what the logic is of keeping in leadership a congresswoman who has a 10% approval rating among her constituents. What on earth is going on with that? Before we develop that, I just want to let you know we are excited to announce we have a brand new alt-tech directory called the New Conservative Survival Guide to Big Tech Censorship, which you can get absolutely free as an ebook download simply by clicking on the link below. Look, with all the rise of the alt tech that's going around us today as substitutes for the big tech thing, it could be hard to keep track of them all, and where you can find all your content creators. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Now we have a directory of all the alt tech, giving you all the wonderful content creators, but without any of the censorship. It's yours absolutely free as an ebook download, and it's yours by simply clicking on the link below. So don't let big tech censors get in the way of your favorite content creators. Click on that link below and enjoy your survival guide to big tech censorship today. All right, so what's going on here? Well, I mean, we've talked about this before, and in fact, I think this Liz Cheney vote and the overwhelming support she's gotten from the Republican establishment leadership is really a perfect example of this. I think it really drives it home, but scholars have recognized that the Washington establishment operates by a fundamentally different politics than that of the people, the rank and file, the grassroots. And this is the same case going on in Europe as well, India, Brazil, where for the last few decades, a very pronounced gap has opened up between the politics of the people, representing their values, interests, and concerns on the one side, and way over on the other side, there's the politics of the political class that operates according to their elitist values, their elitist interests and concerns. So one way of framing this divide is understanding the difference between what scholars call pragmatic politics versus redemptive politics, okay? Pragmatic politics versus redemptive politics. So pragmatic politics is the rule by the establishment according to the values, interests, and concerns of the political class, right? Values, interests, and concerns that are increasingly at odds with the values, interests, and concerns of the people. So by contrast, the values, interests, and concerns of the people, the rank and file, the grassroots, has as a consequence grown increasingly suspicious of the political class. They, in fact, despise the political class and are working to restore what we call a redemptive vision of politics, where the values of the people become the values of the political leadership. And the key here is that the two politics are mutually exclusive. So in the establishment world of pragmatic politics, what the GOP did with Liz Cheney is perfectly rational and normal. 115 GOP members originally called for her to resign. They have a 4-hour meeting behind closed doors, and then they all come out of the meeting, hugging and kissing each other, right? We're all made up with one another. Now we can go and be united, and we can go on pursuing and advancing the values, interests, and concerns of the establishment political class. Or our leadership could become advocates of a politics of the people, which restores democratic rule and institutions as compatible with the values of the population, and as such, acts in accordance with the concerns of the citizens. That's why we love Trump so much. We love Trump because the values and the concerns of the people became the values and concerns of the White House. The problem is that the extent to which the Republicans side with the permanent political class, they're aligning themselves with the very elitist establishment politics that their populist base despises and derides. And we saw this play out in Georgia, didn't we? With the Senate runoff races. We saw this very dynamic play itself out. You may have heard about this, but as it turns out, election analysis has confirmed that over 750,000 voters in Georgia who voted on November 3rd did not turn out and vote in the Senate runoff race on January 5th, the vast majority of which were Republicans. So don't listen to the mainstream media on that. They're all saying, of course, hey, it's all Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault. Trump just got out of the way. Everything would have been fun. No, Trump's more popular. He's more popular than Biden, for heaven's sakes. I think a far better explanation is precisely this breakdown between the politics of the people and the politics of the political class. The Republican Senate candidates looked and sounded like never-Trumper, neocon establishment Republicans of the political class, while the Georgia Republican rank and file are full populists who, by definition, despise the political class. You can't have it both ways. This is what the Republican Party is going to... It looks like they're going to have to learn this the hard way. You can't try to side with both populists and a permanent political class. Either the permanent political class adopts and embraces the politics of the people, in which case it becomes more like Trump, it stops being a permanent political class, or they ignore the politics of the people, in which case they become more like Nancy Pelosi. But you can't have it both ways, and I think the Georgia Senate runoff proved that. You can't dismiss the values, interests, and concerns of your base and then expect your base to remain your base. They're going to leave you. This is exactly what Lou Dobbs has been warning the Republican Party for the last few weeks over. Dobbs warned the Republican Party that they are literally on the verge of losing their base. And they're on the verge of losing their base precisely because the GOP leadership is constantly insulting and spitting on the 74 million people, Trump voters, who are ready to bail and leave the GOP permanently. This is what Dobbs said, and I've got the quote here. The fact of the matter is, working men and women and their families right now have no representation. This president has made clear who has his priority, his attention, his interests. President Trump, as you say, stood up for the working men and women and their families. And it is stunning to me that the Republican Party right now doesn't understand the threat that he poses, because I think of those 74 million Americans. If they continue to be insulted by the leadership of both political parties, they're going to say, the hell with you. And the Patriot Party will be born, and will be born with extraordinary strength and power. And Dobbs is absolutely right. And that's because the Republican base wants a politics that represents their values and their concerns, all the while the Republican leadership is pursuing a politics that represents the values and concerns of the permanent political class, and as such, they risk alienating their base. And they've lost 2 Senate seats as a result. How many more seats are they willing to lose before they stop listening to CNN and start listening to their base? Who, by the way, don't want anything more to do with the likes of Liz Cheney's and Mittens Romney's. Get rid of them. So obviously, we're going to keep an eye on how things develop for the Republican Party. But as things stand, they really are at risk of going the way of the Whigs and into political extinction. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And you'll definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded. Was our live stream last night. We had a lot of fun on how Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been caught lying red-handed. You are not going to want to miss it, so make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.